You have an episode in Traffic this season about rehab scams. How did you get into that, and what did you learn?
Yeah, I've been covering the opiate crisis for a long time, and the drug business as well, and just seeing, talking to people that have gone to rehab as well, and lots of times I heard horror stories. And so this season we decided to really try to investigate what was happening, and we started our reporting in Arizona, where basically there are all these sort of rehab clinics that are there to exploit Native Americans, mainly Native Americans, because I know it's really horrible. Native Americans get access to healthcare much easier than non-Native Americans in the state. It was something that started during COVID, where you can just basically call the health department and say, this is my name, this is my Native American ID number, and they will give you insurance just like that. It was to make it easier for them. But what has happened because of it is that now they're seen as targets, as prizes for these black market rehab operators that set up these clinics. They basically go to reservations. It's insane. They go around these reservations convincing people that have problems with drugs or alcohol to come into their vans. It's these white vans, and so it's a little. I've heard about the white vans for many years, and you always think it's sort of a myth, right? But it turns out that actually in Arizona, it's not a myth. So
it's a very rehab thing too. The white van, usually if there's a detox center or if there's a halfway house, they usually come in a white van. So it's very typical to see that in that community.
Right. So that's exactly it. So they go in these white vans, they convince people. Sometimes they tell them, we're just going to go for a ride. This is what I heard. But the majority of times they tell them, look, we're going to offer you free treatment, free housing, free food. Just come with us. And then they place them in these houses, but they offer them free housing, but they don't actually offer them any treatment. Or if they do, it's shit treatment. And they're charging insurance insane amounts of money for bogus treatment. And a lot of times these are desperate people that really do need that treatment. And instead, they're being lied to and exploited, and just horrible, horrible conditions. I mean, the state, I think it was $3 billion or something. Don't quote me because I can't remember exactly, but it was billions of dollars that the state of Arizona lost to these rehab scams in the last few years alone.
Why would the people stay there, I guess would be my question.
Because they had, a lot of times they were actually given drugs. And this is happening after Arizona, we came to California as well, where they're exploiting not only Native Americans, but anyone, people from all walks of life. And they're actually going to states like Alaska and Oklahoma, all around the country, and bringing people to these rehab scams facilities in California. This is where multiple state sources and news outlets.
Yeah, multiple state sources and news outlets have reported that the cost of fraudulent billing and scams involving rehab and sober living facilities has totaled approximately $2.8 billion for the state of Arizona. That's unbelievable.
3, that's 2.8. Yeah.
The scams primarily exploited loopholes in Arizona Medicaid system, especially the American Indian Health Program, billing for services that were often never provided or for patients who were not even in the facilities. Were the patients also part of the scam?
So a lot of times they're actually given alcohol and drugs to stay there. Or a lot of times these are people who, whose families, they've suffered from addiction. The families might not want them, or, they don't have means to go back, and they decide to stay because here they have a free house, free meals, and sometimes even free drugs and alcohol. So they stay. But what they don't know, or what is happening behind that sometimes they don't know, is that they're sort of a prize. They're being exploited, and they're making millions of dollars off the fact of having them in these facilities. And this is happening again in California as well.
Did you find out who are the solicitors of this?
Yeah,
is solicitors the right word?
Yeah, or the owners of these clinics.
Who is the proprietors of this?
Yeah,
who are
the
people?
We actually interviewed, in Arizona, when they figured out that the state started cracking down on these rehab facilities, they closed hundreds and hundreds of these clinics that they realized were pure Medicaid scams. And a few of them were still operating. One, which was sort of the bad one that we kept on hearing about, was still operating. So we showed up at a Ramada Inn, like a decommissioned Ramada Inn hotel.
Oh, yeah, been there.
Decommissioned, and where hundreds of people were being held, or not held, but they were housed. And we were told that place, the government, Department of Health of Arizona, had sent them a cease and desist. And had told them they could not operate because they were running a scam, a Medicaid scam. And meanwhile, a few months later, we show up and we're outside with our cameras hiding in our own vans. And we see white van after white van in the front with people being taken into the vans, and then being driven to this treatment center, where then that afternoon I was able to talk to somebody who went into the treatment center. I saw that a bunch of people were leaving the motel, and I just went up to one, started talking to him, and he said, yeah, I mean, it was hundreds of people inside this sort of classroom, and no one is actually getting treatment. But they're charging, sometimes up to like $10,000 a person for treatment that they're not receiving and they desperately need. Wow. And that $10,000 goes straight into the pockets of these owners.
CEO of Tempe Rehab absolutely denies allegations of Medicare fraud, right? So this is a place that these are...
This is the one that was running the facility from that decommission.
These are accusations. I want to let you know that's allegedly. We finally caught up with Newfound Hope's owner to see what he had to say while at the Arizona Office of Administrative Hearings.
We interviewed him, Dennis Artiles.
Okay.
And he denied that his facility was operating the day that we saw all those vans full of people taking people. We had recorded evidence of this, and he denied it.
Okay, so we denied that it was operating.
That it was operating.
You're saying you have evidence that it was operating.
That's right. I mean, we saw it. We filmed it. Yeah, that's an amazing.
Dennis Artiles?
Yeah, that's.
He's Latino or no? Is Latino?
Maybe. I can't remember exactly. I know that we spoke to his sister-in-law, who was working. She was the one responsible for the billing in his company. And she basically became a whistleblower and told us everything, how he was double billing for people, how he was billing for people that weren't even there. So he was making $850 million, or his company facility, $850 million a month. She showed us the billing.
That's disgusting. Show up another picture of him. It's the only photo of him you can get?
Yeah, he doesn't like the limelight.
Of course he doesn't. That's why I want to make sure we get a good one of him. Because the problem with it is a lot of criminals, they don't ever get shown until people don't know who they are. We have a guy who allegedly stole a bunch of money from us a few years ago. What was that guy's name? Colin Thompson. I'm going to put a picture of him up right now just to remind everybody that he's never...
What did he do?
He got paid from advertisers and never paid our podcast and others.
Oh, no.
There he is right there.
Whoa.
Missing, defrauded, that I know of me and my friends, was up to like $4 million.
No way. What is he doing right now? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but
wow.
I'm glad that I don't have to be involved with him anymore. And
did you know him personally?
Yeah, I thought I did. I thought I did, but he just he was, according to me, and this is just allegedly, the guy was a complete thief, piece of shit. But I just heard. I'm not saying I heard. The only reason I know that is because I said it. I'm not saying anybody else has ever said that. Wow, hiding his picture from the internet. So he must have himself scrubbed off the internet. Just zoom in on his face a little bit. I just want to get a gander at him, and then we'll move on.
There's a video, too.
There is?
Him being interviewed, yeah.